2 hours ago, America lost a vote it never should have been in, and the country that beat it was its own neighbor. This morning, the Trump administration filed a formal procedural objection to block Canada from addressing an emergency UN General Assembly session, called by 67 nations over one charge: American economic coercion against a sovereign allied nation. America tried to silence the country it was accused of bullying inside the building built to make sure that cannot happen. The vote took 11 minutes. 142 nations voted yes, 7 voted no, and then America had to sit there and listen. Here is what you need to understand first. Washington's objection was not just rejected by member states. The UN's own legal counsel reviewed it in 90 minutes and threw it out in writing. America had no legal ground. It called the floor vote anyway. 142 countries answered. Now, before we get into what Carney said and what he tabled, has Washington reaching for its lawyers right now? Subscribe and hit that like button, because what happened in that chamber today cannot be undone by any executive order. Here is what happened when Carney walked in. One folder. Never opened it once. He opened with a single question, directed at the entire assembly. When did the size of an economy become a license to coerce a neighbor? Because if that rule changed, this assembly was not informed. And if this assembly was not informed, and this assembly has something to say about it. 3 seconds of silence. Then the room shifted. He built his case in 4 sections. Each one hit harder than the last. First, the legal record. Every American measure imposed on Canada since January, not delivered with outrage, with case numbers, filing dates, dollar amounts, treaty violations cross-referenced against USMCA clauses both nations signed. He turned 3 decades of alliance commitments into a prosecution exhibit. America's UN ambassador stopped taking notes halfway through and just stared forward. Second, the human cost. 600,000 Canadian workers affected by visa suspensions. $41 billion in cancelled contracts. Communities across 4 provinces where American trade actions eliminated local employment overnight. He read every number the way a coroner reads a report. Flat, precise, unanswerable. Then he stopped and said something the Assembly did not expect. I am not here because Canada is hurting. Canada has prepared for this. Canada will recover. I am here because of what happens to the next country, the smaller one, the one without Canada's resources or alliances or ability to absorb the blow. What is being done to Canada today establishes what can be done to anyone tomorrow. Every smaller nation in that room understood exactly what he meant, and every one of them was still listening. Third, the precedent. Carney argued this is not a bilateral trade dispute. It is a deliberate attempt to establish that economic size grants the right to override treaty obligations and restructure a neighbor's economy by force. If that precedent stands unchallenged, every relationship, every nation in that room holds with a larger power becomes conditional on that power's mood. That is the moment Washington's position collapsed in real time, because Carney stopped speaking for Canada and started speaking for everyone. Or, fourth, the resolution. Carney tabled the Economic Sovereignty Protection Resolution. 4 clauses. America cannot veto a single one. Clause 1. The General Assembly formally declares unilateral economic coercion against allied nations a violation of UN Charter principles. Permanent record. No Security Council veto applies. Clause 2. All of Canada's WTO legal challenges against American measures receive formal UN endorsement as legitimate exercises of sovereign rights. Clause 3. The UN Secretary-General establishes a permanent quarterly monitoring mechanism for economic coercion between member states. America's actions against Canada become the first case on file, reviewed every 3 months, indefinitely. Clause 4. All member states are formally encouraged to extend trade and economic cooperation to any nation facing unilateral coercion. A direct international invitation to deepen ties with Canada, backed by a UN resolution that Washington cannot characterize as hostile without condemning the entire world body simultaneously. He closed with one line: Canada did not come here for sympathy. Canada came here to make sure the rules still mean something, because if they don't mean something for Canada today, they won't mean something for anyone tomorrow. 119 delegates stood before he finished the last word. Now here is why the next 48 hours matter enormously. The resolution vote happens tomorrow. The EU, African Union, ASEAN and Commonwealth nations have already announced support. America can call in every diplomatic favor built over 80 years of UN membership. It will still lose, because those 142 nations didn't vote for Canada out of affection. They voted because every single one of them has felt exactly what Canada described. And Carney just gave them a formal mechanism to say so permanently. 3 senior State Department officials confirmed separately the objection filing was a White House political decision made directly over diplomatic advice. The professionals said don't file it. Washington filed it anyway. And now those same professionals are managing consequences nobody asked them to anticipate. Trump has 3 paths. None of them lead anywhere good. Path 1. Fight the resolution vote. Every call America makes pressuring a nation to vote against economic sovereignty protection is a call that nation remembers the next time it needs something from Washington. The diplomatic cost of fighting this vote may exceed the cost of simply losing it. Path 2. Ignore the resolution and continue current policy. It passes anyway. Every future American trade negotiation, every alliance commitment, every appeal to international rules gets answered with a permanent reference to this UN record. The credibility damage compounds with every passing month. Path 3. Use the resolution as a face-saving off-ramp and offer negotiations. But Carney has publicly stated Canada will not negotiate under coercion. Measures get lifted first or talks don't begin. America backs down before the conversation even starts. Every path costs something Washington cannot get back. 2 hours ago, Trump tried to use a procedural rule to silence a smaller neighbor inside the institution, built specifically to protect smaller neighbors from that. 142 nations made sure Canada was heard louder than it has ever been heard before. Trump wanted silence. He created a permanent international legal record, activated a global coalition, and handed Carney a resolution the whole world is about to sign. Canada didn't come to the UN to complain. Canada came to make sure what is happening to them can never quietly happen to anyone else again. If this changed how you see where this conflict is really heading, smash that like button, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe so you never miss a story.